Hello, BookTube, and welcome to my announcement and sort of TBR for February fantasy stories, FFS. And it's headed up by the Bookish Bryants, and there'll be a lot of co-hosts. I guess I was asked to be a co-host. I first said no because I didn't have any material and I didn't know what to read. But since then, I've been able to get a few things, and I will be sticking my toe in. I won't be reading a huge amount, but because they're short stories, I'll be able to do this. The first week is classic science fiction, and these are the prompts. Anything under 250 pages or short stories, but I will be using mostly this year the Anne and Jeff Vandermeer's big book of classic fantasy. It's dual columned. It's very similar to the um, science fiction, the big book of science fiction they did, except it's about a third less in size. So I'll be, and that's classic science fiction up to 1971. They've determined. So I will pull stories out of this. I'm not sure how many. I'll see how the week's going, and we'll go week by week. Second week is Sword and Sorcery. Now, I've been wanting to read or reread the Conan stories by Robert E. Howard. So I've recently been able to pick up a cheap. This is the Del Rey edition. It's still got this curve to it, but that'll sort of eventually come out, I'm sure. Um, and it's a newer publication and has a lot of short stories. And again, I don't know how many I'll be doing, but I definitely will be digging into this. And I've read some. I haven't read all of the Conan stories, so and I'm not sure which ones I've read, so I'm not even going to be concerned with that. The third week is what's it called here? Dark fantasy, grimdark, and fantasy horror, etc. Again, I'll be delving into this. I'm hoping there's material in here for it. I'm not quite sure where it's gonna like what stories are. Like I sort of get an idea what Grimdark is, but I don't know any of the stories. So if anybody is familiar with this book and know what is for Grimdark and dark fantasy that's in here, then please let me know. I am aware that things like the George R. Martin, whatever it is, that series that was Swords and Ice or whatever, is grimdark. But I'm not interested in that. I have no interest in that whatsoever. So I don't need to know that again. So definitely, if anybody knows what's in here, is and then the fourth week is urban fantasy, which I had to ask what that was. When I found out then I was told that there was, uh, it had to do with, or could be, 19th and early 20th century detectives doing supernatural things or investigating supernatural. And immediately I thought of the Case of Karnaki by William Hope Hodgson. So, and it's very short. There's 9 short stories in here. I will be definitely reading all of this for that week because it's very short, and that's a reread of that. So I'll really enjoy that. So as I say, I have read some of this material without knowing it, and also I have some few things on Kindle here. I have Sax Rohmer's Miles Claw, and that's Claw with a K, and then also too, I'm hoping to get a few things by Algernon Blackwood, his John Silence, which these are all ones that I've read. And then I think there was Sheridan LaFanu did a series of stories as well. And I'll see what else I can find because those things I do like. I like Ghost Hunters, and like they're the original Ghostbusters basically. So that's very nice, very interesting, and I enjoy reading that. So yeah, so that's what I will be doing. There are many co-hosts. I will list them down in the description. And yeah, and as I say, it'll be week to week. I'll be pulling out stuff, and it depends on how that week is going, the number of short stories I read, because I do have a lot on my plate. But I will definitely read. I should be able to at least read 2 stories per week for the first ones, and then, as I say, I definitely will be reading all of Karnaki, the 9 stories in here. It's very short. It's not even 200 pages, so that's very doable, and because I will make time for that. And yeah, so that's my announcement for February fantasy stories. Take care, BookTube.